something that the do-nothing Democrats and the hate-filled Republicans are never really going to tell you about immigration is that it benefits the corporations that fund these politicians to be in politics in the first place, you know. And so in order to solve immigration, we have to understand immigration. If you think it's a flute that the Republicans yell, the borders are wide open, come on down, and large amounts of groups are coming over the border, caravan after caravan after caravan from all over the world, and the do nothing Democrats delay the asylum process so long that these people stay illegal for a very, very long time. And these corporations, of course, still hire them with fake papers and stuff like that, but they still hire these people. And so, and they hire them for a wage that is basically not even livable. If a slave doesn't know he's a slave, he'll work for next to nothing. For less than a livable wage. He'll work for less than a livable wage, that's for sure. A lot of these people are staying in the same household to be able to have a little bit of extra money to send back home, or they're being helped by politicians. I mean, they're getting put in these hotels. They're getting put up in these. They're building them housing, for God's sakes, and it's at your back. It's at your back, basically. You're the taxpayer that's paying for this. And the reason why you're paying for this is because it benefits the corporations that your politicians work for. I'm sorry to break that to you. I'm sorry that you don't understand politics. I'm sorry that I burst your little heart for being a Democrat or Republican. It doesn't matter. When it comes to economic issues, they never argue, and they essentially work together for their donors. I mean, that's who they work for, not the American people, not the American taxpayer. And so, how do we solve immigration? We have to understand it. You know, it was in 1917 when we had the first labor shortage, like we do now with the boomers retirement, baby boomers. It was a huge number of people, and you also have very, very, very low birth rates here in America as well, both of whom are very directly affecting the workforce here in America. And so 1917 was an important date because that was the first time that we had a labor shortage. We had just abolished slavery back in 1894, I believe, and then during 1917 we had the first bracero program, which brought Mexicans over the border during World War One to be able to work the field, because there wasn't enough workers. And so that changed in 1964 when they ended the bracero program. Now, this ended for several reasons. They were being exploited. A lot of them weren't even paid. They received reparations during the mid-2000s, I believe. Wasn't too long ago when they received reparations. That's my point, I guess. Because of the conditions that they were in. So what happened in 64 was when African Americans were given the rights as everyone else, they were also fighting for the rights of women rights. Women also received rights during that time. Not only that, but all minorities received rights during that time. And so during the same time, we're also creating destabilizations in different countries. There was just south of Mexico and Guatemala, there was an American company that basically monopolied the whole banana industry and destabilized this country. You got to understand, when you destabilize a country like that, and these people don't even have enough to make a living in their own country, guess where they're going to come to? They're going to come to America. And so that's exactly what happened during this time. And more people started to come into the country. As more and more people started to come into the country, during the Carter administration in 71, I want to say, there was the first border fencing that we saw. So immigration became a little bit tighter, and it only got tighter after that. The Clinton administration, the Bill Clinton administration, and George W. Bush Jr. administration, both administrations essentially added to the border wall as well, making it even more difficult. So instead of these people being able to cross back and forth like they used to, save a little bit of money, buy a house in their country, and then never essentially come back, because immigration got tougher, a lot of them ended up staying in the country. They even brought over their families in the country, and that's what we're seeing now. Whole families come into the country illegally, and that's why I think that the border wall is not only a bad idea, but it's also counterproductive. And also you have the Democrats who are purposely delaying the asylum process, which should not take long at all to review and to do, but they're purposely delaying it because their shareholder, their donors are essentially saying to them, hey, we need workers, and we need them now, and you work for me, I fund your campaign, get me those workers. And so why is this not being reported in media, for example? And so this isn't being reported in media because you got to understand there's billions and billions of dollars at stake for these media companies. They make a bulk of their money during campaigns when politicians write them checks, million dollar checks for essentially for commercials, for $1 million commercials. I'm sorry, just lost my thought there, but yeah, $1 million commercials. So because of these commercials, they really can't disclose what really happens in Washington. And so if you're an outsider and you don't really know politics and don't understand it, you're not really going to understand what I'm talking about right now. And I'm sorry that you don't. I'm sorry that you're still blindly voting Democrat or Republican. It doesn't matter. That's the reality of what's going on in Washington.